Who was your favorite dead-end kid, East Side Kid, or Bowery boy? Was it Huntz Hall? He was certainly one of the most popular. Thanks for joining me on my tours of cemeteries, grave sites, memorials, and final resting places of the famous and infamous people who are gone but not forgotten. Well, hey, good morning, everybody. It's a very early morning here in Pasadena, California, and I'm standing right in front of the All Saints Episcopal Church here, almost on the corner of Union Street, or Union and Euclid. And it's right across the street from the Pasadena, the very famous, beautiful, historic Pasadena City Hall. And this building here is also very historic. And so I'm here today to visit the gravesite. Well, it's actually not a gravesite, it's a niche of actor and comedian Huntz Hall, who was one of the stars of the Bowery Boys and the Dead End Kids and the East Side Kids. They were extremely popular, did lots of movies back in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, and then he continued to act almost until the time of his death. And he was even, if you're a Beatles fan, you may remember the very popular Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album cover that had lots of celebrities on the cover, and he was actually one of them. So you may want to take a look at it and see if you can spot him. So I'm going to go in, and it's right through these doors here. So his niche is just right above this really beautiful doorway here. Huntz Hall got his big break in show business in 1935 when he was cast as one of the kids in Stanley Kingsley's Broadway play called Dead End. The Broadway play was hugely popular at the time and played in New York for 2 years. Because of its popularity, in 1937, Samuel Goldwyn bought the rights to turn it into a movie. The studio then hired most of the original cast members to recreate their roles in the movies. Huntz Hall came to Hollywood and for the next 20-some years continued to play the goofy, nerdy, buffoonish character that he made famous on stage in nearly 90 Dead End Kids inspired movies. When the Dead End movie turned out to be just as popular as the play, the studio decided to continue the franchise with 5 additional films. These early films were dramas, and the Dead End Kids played alongside some of the biggest names in Hollywood at the time, including James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, John Garfield, and even Ronald Reagan. In 1938, the Dead End Kids moved to a different movie studio and became the Little Tough Guys. And then in 1940, with yet another studio, they became the East Side Kids. And finally, in 1946, they moved to another studio and became the Bowery Boys. I'm pretty sure that Huntz Hall was the only original Dead End Kid who appeared in all of the movies over the 20-plus years in 4 different names and nearly 90 films. His character name in the play was Dippy, but was later changed to Sach, and that seems to be the character name that he used in most of the films that followed. After the franchise disbanded in 1958, Huntz Hall continued to act in movies and in TV, and had a very successful acting career almost up to the time of his death. But for most fans, he'll probably always best be remembered as Sach from the 48 Bowery Boys movies that he appeared in. The Dead End Kids and the Bowery Boys were way before my time, but I do remember watching them after school in reruns when I was a kid. And I recently discovered and watched some of their movies on YouTube, and they really took me back quite a few decades. Watching these movies was really a trip down memory lane. As I was coming up the stairs, I noticed that they are having a service this morning in the chapel that's just to the left of the main door that I just came in. So I'm going to head back downstairs and show you the interior of the chapel for those of you who might be interested. I've seen lots of chapels and churches in cemeteries with crypts lining the walls, and even recently in Santa Barbara, the chapel walls were lined with niches. But this is the first church that I've ever seen that's not in a cemetery that has burial niches inside the church. And for such an old historic church, there really aren't that many, so I'm guessing that these are fairly recent. And I'm also guessing that this must have been where Huntz Hall attended services. If Huntz Hall was one of your favorite characters from the Dead End Kids franchise, please leave a comment down below, especially if you ever met him or have any personal stories to share. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to be alerted when I upload future videos like this one. And I'll hope to see you next time.